Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the German Tier 3 medium tank, the Panzer IV-A. So, is it any good? Not really. I wouldn't call it a bad tank, but it's definitely not a good tank. You have to go through the Panzer III-A light tank to get to this Panzer IV-A medium tank, because of the way it sits in the tech tree, and it's just not as good a tank as the Panzer III-A was. So here we go, here's the Panzer III-A. You have to go sideways to get this tank, so you have to unlock another Tier 3 tank from Tier 3, so it's probably not going to be a very popular option. You probably won't see many of these on the battlefield. It does eventually lead to the VK heavy tank line, which most people would probably just go along the Panzer 38T line, 38 line here to get to it, whereas this line, it kind of goes the DW line, and then you'd probably, yeah, I'm jumping across, but probably most people wouldn't. The Panzer III-A, the light tank, is a better tank. Why? The Panzer III-A has, even though it's a light tank, it has better armor, has basically the same gun, has better camouflage, and it's heaps faster. So this tank is a real letdown after driving the Panzer III-A, which you have to drive to get to this anyway. So disappointing is a good way of describing this tank. The difference though is it does have the howitzer type of derp gun, which you don't get a chance to use on the Panzer III-A. So if you really love those sort of derp guns, then maybe you will like this tank. It has 270 hit points, which is the second highest for Tier 4 mediums, the highest being the Vickers Mark III British tank with 280. I am going to compare this a fair bit to the Panzer III-A because you do get, I'm telling you the Panzer III-A is a better tank, so I need to explain why. The Panzer III-A does have less hit points though on 240. Weight-wise, it weighs in at 18 tonne, which is average for Tier 4 medium. The Panzer III-A wasn't much lighter at 17 tonne. Now, speed-wise, this tank does 42 km an hour in reverse and 42 km an hour in forward and 18 km an hour in reverse, which is average for a Tier 4 medium. However, the Panzer III Light did 68 in forward and 20 in reverse. It was much faster. The track traverse on this tank is 40, which is the equal highest of the Tier 4 mediums. It shares that honour with the Panzer Premium S35739 and with the American M2 medium. But the Panzer III-A was higher with 44. However, the turret traverse on this tank is very, very good at 45. And that's better than any other tank in the medium range, the next best being the British Vickers at 42. And it is even higher than the Panzer III-A, which only had a 36 turret traverse being one of its weaknesses. The view range of 330 metres is on the lower side of average for a Tier 4 medium. Only the D2 is lower with 320. And the Panzer III also had, Panzer III-A also had 320. Signal range of 415 is not great. It's on the lower side of average and is not as good as the Panzer III-A was either. Camouflage wise, for the Tier 4 mediums, it's not bad. It's sort of on the upper side of average, but you know, the medium tanks are not as good as the light tanks. So the Panzer III-A, you enjoyed a very good camouflage rating. It's nowhere near as good as the Panzer III-A was in that respect. So making it once again harder to outflank and harder to hide from your opponents. Gun depression wise, this tank has 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very good, and 20 degrees of elevation, also pretty good. However, that's only average for a Tier 4 medium. Let me explain. Well, the Chi-Ha, the Japanese, has minus 15 degrees of gun depression, and the American M2 has 14 degrees of gun depression, both outstanding. The other tanks all have minus 10, except for the Vickers British tank, which is the worst one at minus 8. So, good gun depression, but nothing special for Tier 4, and it's the same as the Panzer III-A had. Now, let's have a look at the grind very quickly. If I can find the tank on my... there it is. So, engine upgrade, didn't notice a lot of difference. Track upgrade only gives you an extra... sorry, it's excellent because it gives you an extra 5 degrees of traverse, so you definitely want to get the tracks. Turret upgrade, well, you know, it was 16, 14, 14, which is pretty similar to the one you started with on the Panzer III-A, and then it goes up to 30, 14, 14. Now the Panzer III-A had 30-30-30 armor. So it's not as well armored as the Panzer IIIA light tank turret. Okay, so the first gun is the same gun as you had on the Panzer IIIA, and the second gun here is your howitzer type derp gun. However, this first gun here does operate better in this tank than it did in the Panzer IIIA. So, for example, the rate of fire here of 27.27, which is a very high rate of fire, is better than it was in the Panzer IIIA. It only had 24 rate of fire in the Panzer IIIA. The penetration of 60 and the damage of 70 are exactly the same. 70 damage is quite respectable at tier 3, as is the 60 penetration. And when you get into tier 4, 5 in games, you could use the premium ammo of 96, which you'll see you doing okay. The HE ammo with 25 pen is utterly useless. The accuracy of 0.46 isn't too bad at this tier, and the aim time of 1.9 is pretty good. And that is better than it was in the Panzer III. The Panzer III only had a 2.3 aim time and it had 0.48 accuracy. So the gun does work better in this tank. However, it doesn't make up for the lack of maneuverability. And in this tank, you know, tier 5, you won't be able to penetrate any heavies or mediums frontally, and you'll have trouble with some of the tier 4s frontally as well. And it's very hard to outflank with this tank because it's just not fast enough and just doesn't have good enough camouflage and just doesn't have the armor to do it compared to the Panzer III. You can use this gun here. It's a derp gun, has a 15 rate of fire, which is quite good for a derp gun. Has 43 pen on the AP ammo, which is utterly useless. And I actually got rid of all the AP ammo out of the gun because I accidentally had it loaded because it just automatically loads at the start of the game. I was point blank with a light tank, put 3 rounds in, 2 rounds into the side and 1 round into the front, and they all bounced. And I thought, what, HE ammo, not doing anything? Then I realised I had AP loaded. It just won't pen. So 38 with 175 on the HE ammo. And it is fun in a tier 3 game. You will one-shot kill tier 2 tanks, lots of them, and you will one-shot kill artillery, and you will damage quite well some of the tier 3 tanks. Some of them, though, the more well-armoured ones, you will do just light damage. Tier 4s and 5s, though, unless they're light tanks, you will need to load the heat ammo, which has 87 pen and does 110 damage. However, it's really expensive at 2,000 a shell. For tier 3, 2,000 a shell is ultra expensive, so you won't be able to go spamming it unless you are willing to pay gold for it. That's about all I have to say on that, and I think I've said pretty much all I have to say. The only trouble with that derp howitzer gun is you need to get close because the accuracy is bad. Also, the shell velocity is terrible, whereas the shell velocity on the other gun, this gun, the L42, shell velocity is quite good. But the shell velocity on the L42, the howitzer gun, is terrible. So long range shooting is pretty much out of the question in my opinion. You have to get close, and you just don't have the speed, you just don't have the armor, and you don't have the camouflage to get close. And that's the letdown of this tank. Alright, let's get into Tank Inspector and then let's get into some gameplay. As usual, I forgot to mention my equipment and driver loadout. We have binoculars, camouflage net, and toolkit fitted. Small repair kit, large repair kit, and large first aid kit fitted. The crew will be at maximum 81% trained. So they're either 81 or below in all the games. It's not a keeper, this tank. Let's get into it. So let's have a look at the Panzer IVA in Tank Inspector, and we also have a quick look at the Panzer IIIA in Tank Inspector as well for comparison. So go to the colorized view, and we can see here that the orange sections here are 15 mils thick. So obviously that's not going to stop anything. Panzer 1C auto cannons, everything will just rip straight through your hull without a problem. The heavily sloped area here is 10 millimeters thick. The side of the tank is also 15 millimeters thick, won't stop anything. Rear of the tank 15 millimeters as well. The top deck of the tank is 10 millimeters thick all around, except for the cupola top, which is 8 millimeters. So the turret, the upgraded turret, is 30 millimeters. And look at tier 3, all that's going to stop really is auto cannon fire. Everything else is going to rip a hole straight through it. And that really, some tier 2s will have trouble with you, but that's about it. The cupola, which is nice because it's quite prominent, at least that's 30 mils as well. They haven't gone thinner on that. But even so, and even the mantlet, it's no thicker. It's still only the 30 mils. So you're just not going to bounce much at all in this tank. Side of the turret and rear of the turret is also 15. So the arm's quite poor. If we have a quick look now at the Panzer 3A, the light tank, we can see that the hull armor is pretty much the same, 15. 15. So it's the same, the hull is the same. No worse than the medium. And you've even got these stronger bits here, 25, which the medium doesn't have. So technically the hull is a little bit better. But the turret, we have 30 mils here. Now that's the same as the turret on the Panzer 4A. But then we have this mantlet here, which is 25 mils overlaying the 30 mils. So it comes up as 82 mils, equivalent of. When we move around here, it's all there. There are sections where it's not, where it's just the 25 mils. But for most of it, it's overlaying, or for quite a bit of it. So you've got a good chance of bouncing a lot of shots off the mantlet in this tank. The cupola is the same as, the cupola is much stronger. The cupola is 50 mils. And remember, it's only 30 mils on the Panzer 4A, although it does go down to 25 mils at the very top. But even so, you've got a stronger cupola, stronger mantlet, it's faster, has better camouflage. Holy crap.
Let's go.
Okay, we're in the Panzer 4A, German medium tank. It's a tier 3 battle, so we're top of the tree. This is my very, very first game in the tank, so my crew is 75% trained, and I don't have the top turret. I think I do have the top engine and the top radio, however, because I already unlocked those on other tanks. Actually, you probably unlocked them on the Panzer 3A anyway. As you can see here, not bad accuracy considering we're not fully trained, and the shell velocity on this gun isn't too bad. This guy is very evasive. We did bounce that shot, however. Track shot. Rate of fire, as you can see, is very, very good in this tank. So yeah, my crews are badly trained. I'm pretty sure. So I've got the stock tracks, the stock turret. So this gun is the same gun as you have on the Panzer 3A light tank, but it does have a better rate of fire, aim time, and loading time in this. And accuracy in this tank. So just taking shots all over the joint. An M2 light does hit me, but bounces, which is pretty amazing. So obviously the M2 light loses penetration a lot over range, because that really should have pinned me. Might have been just a bit of luck. So we finally managed to pin this T-15, and we get the kill, luckily. So the amount of damage that it does for its tier is actually pretty good. I think it's not bad. 70 damage. After driving to 3A though, this does feel very slow, this tank. So there's a Panzer 3A. And look at the turret, how strong it is here. I cannot penetrate. Yet he is having no trouble penetrating me. So there's the difference between the Panzer 3A and the Panzer 4A. The Panzer 3A can penetrate the Panzer 4A's turret, but the Panzer 4A can't penetrate the Panzer 3A's turret, even though it's a medium tank. So there you go. That's why I think the Panzer 3A is a much better tank. One of the reasons why. The other one is it's got better camouflage and it's much faster. Anyway, I'll stop going on about that. So I like to use this bush to spot from, and the other guy died just in front of the bush, which also gives us a bit of protection from fire, so it's not a bad spot at the moment to be in. I'm being fairly cautious though, because the tank really doesn't have good armor at all. and yeah, and it doesn't have great camouflage either, so I do have to be pretty careful in this thing. So yeah, it has the disadvantages of a medium tank with none of the advantages of a medium tank. That's the basic thing. I think they just decided, oh, we've got too many light tanks, we'll call this one a medium. I don't know why else you would call it a medium tank. See?
Penetration.
So you can see there we penetrate in front of the 1C without too much trouble.
They're knocked out.
Managing to get the kill there. So we did a total of 161 damage to that tank. Our team is slightly in front, it's 9-7. So the next game I show you will be with the howitzer type derp gun, so you can have a look and see how that one goes as well. Now, because my crew is only 75% trained, obviously I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Obviously, performance would be much better as far as rate of fire, accuracy, aim time, terrain resistance, all that sort of thing would be better with a fully trained crew. There's that M2 light that shot at us earlier.
Penetration.
I managed to get a nice one there. Oh, missed with that one. I decided to move back here. I was getting spotted earlier from the bush, so I'm just being a little bit cautious. I don't have sixth sense or anything. I don't have any skills on any of my crew, so wait for my camouflage net to kick, my binoculars to kick in and see if we can spot him again. No. I'll speed it up a little bit to 2 times. Back to 1 times. I think I'm going to take a shot here. Yeah. So just in case he's actually poking out and hiding behind the bush, I decided to fire a few shots there anyway. Same here. You'd be surprised how many times you do that and you hear, got him! Well, you would if you're new to the game. If you've played a lot, you won't be surprised by it. Oh, see, there he was. We may even have hit him with that previous shot because his health looks pretty low. Looks like somebody might be firing at me. So I'm backing off for a bit. Speed it back up to 2 times. Oops. Pz.Kpfw out in the open. Now we know he's got terrible armor. Well, he disappeared unfortunately, so let's take a shot at where he thought he might be. Oh, that MT, keep getting, there he is. Let's get him. Oh! Thought he was making a run. Finally we get him. Oh, what? Well, I saw our shell hit it. Oh, the artillery fired at us just then as well, so I don't know how we got spotted, but, or unless he was just guessing. But yeah, I saw my shell hit that tank, or we all saw it, and the other guy got the kill, so it must have been just lag that the other guy actually shot it first. Anyway, that's the end of the game. Somebody else kills the arty and that's it. Let's have a look at the stats. Apologise, a little bit of a boring game, but I just wanted to show you how this gun works on on this tank, and does perform better than it did in the Panzer III. It just doesn't have the armour, etc. to back up. So from sniping, it's okay. Next screen. So that was a Class 2 badge, that game. You can see that we finished actually second for experience, and 511 puts us about third for damage in that game as well. And we fired 39 shots due to the very high rate of fire. 15 of those were direct hits and 10 of them penetrated. Damage of 511. We received 3 hits. All of those hits that we received penetrated. Although I think maybe one of them only tracked us. Yeah, well, it says damage block by armor 40. So there you go. One of them was a track hit. We spotted 2. We damaged 3 and destroyed 3 vehicles. And we got a little bit of assistance damage, 137 for spotting. Profit-wise, yeah, most of what you earn is profit, which you'd expect at this tier. And we received 489 XP without premium, which is enough for a Class 2. So you would think it wouldn't be too hard to get mastery in this tank, but I didn't play it long enough to get mastery.
Time to roll out.
The map is Siegfried Line. I'm in my Panzer for a Tier 3 medium German tank. It's a Tier 5 match, and as you can see from the lineup, this is the worst possible matchmaking for this tank you can possibly imagine. We are the only Tier 3 on our side. The enemy only has one Tier 3 as well. They have the Panzer 3A, which is a much better tank than this anyway. So, without any shadow of doubt, we are the worst tank in the game. So, I have the... my crew is poorly trained, only about 77%. I have the derp gun fitted, and I have loaded HE ammunition. So even against Tier 5s, we'll have trouble doing much damage. So I'm going to go up to here using my superior gun depression. Hopefully I can catch somebody unawares. Oh, he wasn't unaware. Okay, so there's a T80 Tier 4 light tank. Our HE only does 36 damage. The T80 having reasonable frontal armour. I decided to come back and have another shot, but I come up the other side just to hopefully throw him off for a second, give me a chance to hit him before he aims, and he's looking the other way. 23 damage on this occasion. I think I would be better hitting his lower plate, but I have to come up too far to do it. I'm too worried about not being able to get back in time. So he's hit me once, I've hit him twice. He did 60 damage on his shot. He has AP ammo, but he has pretty good penetration on that gun. Not a bad tank, the T80 from recollection, when I played it. I have reviewed it. I go for the lower plate. Oh, I think I hit his lower plate that time. 119 damage that time. That was a good one. He hits me again. That time we hit his lower plate again for 109. So when we're hitting the lower plate, we're doing good damage. Somebody else gets the kill, but I nearly died. I'm on 2 hit points. He hit me 5 times, and I hit him 4 times with HE. So yeah, medium tank my ass. So that just goes to show you that even a Tier 4 light tank, your frontal armour, we didn't bounce a single shot. He missed us with a shot, that was it. And I'm on 2 hit points left. The weakest tank in a Tier 5 game. It's not looking good, is it? Oh dear. Oh dearie me. Now, admittedly, my rate of fire and my accuracy and all that would improve. So we've got a VK30H. We get a side hit on him. From recollection, he's got about 50 mils of armor all around. So we did 46 with the HE ammo there with the side hit. He fired at me then, missed by a mile. 42 we do that time. He's got his turret turned away, so if I get the side of his turret or just below his turret, it's probably better. 45, that's alright. That's quite respectable on a tank of his tier. I'm happy with that. He's a Tier 5 tank, I believe. Only 10 that time. But being HE, we probably are, I'm not sure, we might be critting him a bit as well, which is worthwhile. If we can crit him and take his gun out or something, that gives our other tanks a good chance to take him out. And for a Tier 3 and a Tier 5 game, if that's all we do is crit him, it's a good job. Side there, we had a green indicator. Okay, that wasn't our damage, that was another tank. I think we just did some damage to his tracks. Critical hit, but only 9 damage on that one. So I probably should have changed to heat ammo for him, but you know, I want to show you what, because when I play these tanks, I think about reviewing them. So I figure, hey, you want to see what the HE ammo does, and you want to know when you should or shouldn't switch to heat, you know. So the best way to do that is to show you how it works. So I'm hoping this T25 will come out, because he's pretty close. Oh, here he is.
Critical hit.
Only 25 into the side of a T25. Maybe we hit his tracks a bit or something. The VK's back for some more. That one missed. Oh, he looks like he just fired at me and missed.
Critical hit.
Critical hit. That wasn't my damage. That was somebody else that just hit him. Looks like the T25. Oh, T25's coming.
Critical hit.
One into him for 32. He hasn't fired it. Another one.
Bailout.
And he rams me. Does 57 damage to himself when he rams me. I only had 2 hit points left. The fact that he didn't fire tells me either he had poor gun depression, or that first shot did critical damage. So maybe we took out his gun with the first shot and he had to ram me. Anyway, that's it. I just checked again. My crew was 78% trained in this game, and that was enough for a class 2 for us. And let's have a look at the next screen. So, believe it or not, we actually finished 3rd for experience, mainly because I guess we were shooting higher tier tanks. Looking at the damage we did, 596. You know, we're not that far from the top in damage either, so we fluked it there. And the next screen shows that we fired 15 shots. 14 of those hit, was mostly short range shooting. That's not bad. And 14 penetrations, although let's face it, a lot of those were track damage, etc. They weren't really penetrating. We did 596 damage though, which is pretty great considering we only have 270 hit points in a tier 5 match. We did alright. We received 5 hits, all of which penetrated, of course. Enemy vehicle spotted 2, and we damaged 3 of them. Damage due to our assistance 40, and we didn't do very well there. We lost a lot of money because I used a repair kit, and repair kits are very expensive. 535 was a class 2.
Move out.
So the map is Prokhorovka, and we're top of the tree. It's a tier 3 match. Most of the tanks are tier 3, and we have about 5 tier 2 tanks on our team as well. So I have good gun depression, so I'm going up the hill. Good gun depression and poor armor, so I go the hill. If I had great armor, I might go into the town. But I don't, and I don't have good enough camouflage to go on the other side of the map. So this is where I'm going. So speed-wise, I've got a T82 in front of me, and we're sort of keeping up with the T82. T82, very good Tier 3 American tank destroyer. We've got a Panzer 1C up ahead there. Very popular tank, Panzer 1C. Making our way up the hill. I'll just speed it up a little bit on the way up. So making my way into position. I can see with the other tanks I've already started engaged. I'll slow down to normal speed. So I take up position in this bush here. And T82, very dangerous gun. If we take him out, it'll be good. Full health, 160 points. Someone else hit him just before me. We did 145 damage to him though. We would have taken him out if the other tank hadn't hit him anyway. Because he's an open top tank destroyer, just no armor at all on that thing, so we would have done full damage to him. So you can see there are some tanks you can one-shot with this derp gun. But you can also see the shell velocity is quite slow. So it does take a while, and so moving targets at range are very, very hard to hit. I decided just to shoot one out there, you never know, we might fluke it, hits the train. So the couple of tanks that surged ahead now on our team, I think, have met their demise. It was a pretty bold rush by the 1C, and we're actually losing now because of that, just throwing our tanks away essentially. I could understand it if it was a tier 5 match or something, throwing your tank away to get some spots to allow your team to shoot, but at where you're the top tier, it's not a good idea. Alright, well unfortunately we were lining up that shot there, but someone else got it, and now there's a T-82 in the open after we've moved. I'll try and get back. You see the tank is not the quickest at relocating. Our T-82 seems to be having trouble nailing that guy, which is a very accurate gun. So, although it has poor gun depression, so he may be having trouble getting the gun depression down onto that T-82. It looks like our artillery is firing at it, but at the moment we can't see it. And it does have a very good gun, so I don't want it to spot me. So I'm keeping my gun pointing in the direction of the last known spotting of the T-82 whilst I actually just look around. But my gun's still pointing out area, so it won't take me long to aim. Now I see our T-82 is moving, so I'm hoping this thing will get spotted. It has fired. Here it is. Full health. Oh no, it's got 108 health left. Bang. So we've killed two T-82s. Very easy to kill with this gun. Moving target, can we get him? So I aim at the ground where I'm hoping he'll go. We actually tracked him. 167, that's good damage. He's shooting at us now and he's damaging us. Next shot gets him. But he did do a fair bit of damage and he hit our ammo rack. Now you'll notice the other game that I showed you earlier, the ammo rack got taken out as well. So the ammo rack gets taken out frequently in this tank. I'm just looking to see if that Artie going over there spots something as he goes over the tracks. But no, he doesn't. Okay, we have spotted something on the other side of the tracks though, T-70. I'm just going to speed this up to 2 times. Now Artie actually went TD mode on that guy. He got a shot into him, but that guy killed the Artie and then someone else got the T-70. Still at 2 times speed. It's 9-all, so the game is even. They have 2 artillery left, we have 1. I'm not keen on just driving down here because I'm pretty sure there's somebody watching. So I'll have to go over here and see if I can spot anything in the town or just on the other side of the tracks perhaps. And even though Artie is just outside of my draw distance, so I can't see it to shoot at it. So I decide now it's time to go down, but I pick a path, a much wider path here. So there's something near the tracks that'll have a much harder time seeing me. So I'll slow down to 1 times again now. As you can see, even downhill it's not that fast. Using as much cover as I can on the way through. I'm pretty sure there's somebody out here. I don't know if they're on the hill at the back there or down near the creek here, but so I'm trying to use as much cover as I can as I'm moving. And lo and behold, we spot Pz.Kpfw. Haha, our buddy. As you can see, lightly armoured, well, more heavily armoured than us, but still lightly armoured tank. Does great damage, this particular gun. Now bear in mind this gun's looking fantastic at the moment because it's a tier 3 game. Remember the last game we just played, which was a tier 5 game, it didn't fare so well. So yeah, this derp gun is probably the way to go on this particular tank. But you know, tier 3 games you'll have a lot of fun. Tier 5 games you won't get much joy at all. Oh, he's doing a runner. 1C. Can we predict where he's going to go? He's tracked himself. Bye-bye. Bad time to track yourself, matey. And I think our teammate takes care of this tank. He does. That's the end of the game. So that was enough for a class 1. I haven't got mastery in this tank and I'm not intending to keep it any longer. I don't really like it, so I won't be getting mastery in it. But class 1's not bad. We killed 5 tanks though, which was a pretty good game. We finished on top 4 XP and on top 4 damage as well. as you'd expect in that sort of a matchup. And we fired 12 shots. 8 of those were direct hits, which is pretty good considering the inaccuracy of the gun, the low training of the crew, and the range which some of them were shooting at. So I'm quite happy with hitting 8 out of 12. Of the 8 all penetrated and all did pretty big damage, as you saw. 668 damage, and we received 24 hits, I think all of them from that Panzer 1C. 14 of them penetrated, which means 10 of them must have hit our turret front. So it can stop some tanks. We damaged and destroyed 5 tanks, and we did okay money wise, but we lost a lot of profit because I used 3,000 on the small repair kit to repair the ammo rack, which as you can see is frequently damaged in this tank. 629 was enough for first class mastery, so I'm saying 700 to 750 would probably mastery in this tank. Thanks for watching my review of the Pz.Kpfw. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ.